Welcome to another episode of Gen Z in Manufacturing, a podcast where I talk to young people about their journeys in manufacturing and how they intend to influence the industry and what they're looking for from an employer. For this episode, I welcome 23-year-old Roman Andrew, an applications engineer at Fristam Pumps USA. Andrew spent nearly 2 years interning at Fristam Pumps while in college, gaining experience in design engineering and quality assurance. During that time, he worked on pump assemblies and part design, collaborated with machinists on the shop floor, and perform gauge calibrations and part inspections. In his current role, Andrew configures and quotes pump systems, helps with repairs and diagnosing failure points, and offers technical support to customers. Before we hear from Andrew, please make sure to like and share this episode of Gen Z in Manufacturing. To view previous episodes, visit manufacturing.net. If you are a member of Gen Z and would like to discuss your experience in the manufacturing industry, please get in touch with me, Nolan Beilstein, at nolan@in.com. Well, Roman, thank you for joining a new episode of Gen Z in Manufacturing. I wanted to start off by asking you why you kept coming back to Fristam for internships and why you decided to work there full time.
So I began my internship at Fristam Pumps in the engineering department, where I worked on CAD models and testing of the pumps to generate performance curves. But I was able to complete the projects that they had laid out for me for that internship before the anticipated deadline. And at the same time, they were down a person in the quality department. So there was a need for an additional person to help out there. So my internship shifted to incorporate quality aspects as well. Just the general atmosphere around Fristam really drew me to maintain that relationship and keep coming back. I ended up interning for 2 years seasonally before finally accepting a full-time role.
Had you considered any other companies as you were graduating college looking for your first professional job, or had you always thought you were going to come back to Fristam?
I had looked around. I really did enjoy the more fluid and heat transfer courses through my education. So Fristam being a pump company really drew me in, and I enjoyed working with the other people that I got to meet during my internship. So I was hoping that I would be able to continue this relationship, but I did look around at other occupations in similar fields.
When you were working there with machinists on the shop floor, like you had mentioned in our email exchange, what differences did you notice between how older and younger generations problem solved?
That's a good question. Quite a few of our machine operators it's a very broad spectrum of age. We have a lot of guys who have been here for over 30 years, and then there's several guys who have only been here for a couple years. And they're all working together. We're all on the same team. But there definitely is a difference in how they approach solving a problem. I would say a lot of the older guys they've got a lot more experience having gone through the same problems before, so they're able to really jump to an answer rather quickly. They've already found a solution in years prior, whereas the new guys will bounce that idea of the more experienced machinists, get their input, and then work as a team to get the fastest solution.
Now, how does that compare to your current position where you're helping customers? Do you notice a communication gap between generations? Do you have a hard time talking to people that are older than you? Do they have a hard time understanding you?
That's another very good question. So a lot of the challenge being on the customer service side of engineering is explaining more complicated processes or ideas to people that don't have an entire background on it, and making that difficult concept simple to understand and still be concise enough. I noticed quite a few of the older demographic that I'm assisting tend to communicate over the phone rather than by email seems to be the more common method of communication for the younger demographic. Not that the older demographic doesn't email, but it tends to be more of a quick call to solve the problem as soon as possible rather than bouncing ideas back and forth.
Which one do you prefer? Do you prefer email, phone, in person?
I guess it really depends on the problem or topic that is being dealt with. If it is something that I know can be resolved quickly and explained easily, a phone call is definitely preferred. However, sometimes I may need to provide more detailed information like a pump curve or give material explanations, and an email would be easier for that, or providing an image video of a pump running on our test stand or the process it would be in manufacturing.
So a lot of Gen Z people, when they were going through college or starting their first jobs, was during COVID quarantine. Do you think that generation is lacking a little communication skills, since for a year or two they weren't really getting experience talking and working with people?
I think to a degree, yes. A lot of Gen Z will, like I talked about, resort more to the email form of communication. And that could branch back to when courses, my college, were done on Zoom and there wasn't as much talking, but rather typing in a text chat where it isn't as human of a connection. So that could relate there. I do still think that Gen Z doesn't necessarily have a problem with talking one to one, but the online through text seems to be a more common form of communication as far as Gen Z goes.
I've heard, this isn't really manufacturing related, but I've heard that young people, they don't want to call to set up like doctor's appointments or haircut appointments. Like if they can do it online without conversing with the person, that's the preferred method. Do you feel like that is well reflected on people your age?
I definitely have friends and know people that feel that way and prefer to set it up online, whether it's through a form or just texting in. But I still think a phone call isn't necessarily going to sway Gen Z away from scheduling something or communicating. It's just a preference in general to have it be through text channel.
I feel like older generations have kind of associated career growth with climbing a ladder within a company or industry, getting a new title, getting that senior or chief thrown on. And you've made the jump from intern to full-time employee, which is sort of a ladder climb. So 6 months in, what are you thinking career growth means? What does a career growth mean to you?
Currently at Fristam, I'm very happy with my role as an application engineer. We do have a range of ages in this role. For the other applications engineers, I'm by far the youngest, but we do have a senior application engineer who's been here over 30 years. I would say, as far as advancement goes, increasing my knowledge and skills is definitely a priority. And I'm often reflecting with the other application engineers to grow my knowledge base. I'm still relatively new. As far as advancement goes, there isn't necessarily as much drive to climb a ladder compared to gaining knowledge in my field and really becoming an expert at my craft. And I feel like other Gen Z may feel this way as well, of just really wanting to get a strong foundation and niche for a skill before necessarily progressing or needing to climb a ladder. Really get that strong knowledge base.
Do you get a sense that manufacturing employers still treat growth as promotions and ladder climbing, or are they more thinking on what you're saying? Like when Fristam was selling itself to you as an intern or as a full-time employee, were they saying, yeah, in 2 years you can have this new title and that's going to have X amount of pay raise? I mean, how are they promoting themselves to you to get you excited?
I really like the general atmosphere more than anything. Fristam as a whole really feels like a family. I know that if I were to bring an idea forward, it would be recognized just as much as the next person. And there isn't a discrepancy between different occupations. Everyone is incredibly friendly to each other. I'm on the shop floor every day and working with all of the guys in the warehouse or the machinists, and very friendly to everyone. So I don't think that there's necessarily a separation between office and the shop floor for respect or anything like that. It's all very much so a family feeling, tight-knit company. So that really drew me in. And I wasn't looking for somewhere where I know in 2 years I'm going to have this title. It was more, I want to go to work every day, a place that makes me excited and happy to contribute.
As you talk to some of your friends, peers, people your age, do you get the sense that they care about titles, or are they thinking more like you?
A lot of my friends are more on the CAD side of engineering, so more modeling and designing and a more repetitive role. I don't fully know the trajectory on their side or position ladder climbing, but it hasn't ever really come up in discussion between us. It's more of getting very good at your craft and proving your value, proving your worth, and being able to provide as much as possible.
We've covered a lot of studies and stories here where retention has been a concern among manufacturers. So what would you caution employers about this? What signals to a young worker that their needs aren't being met and it's time to move on? What should manufacturers look out for regarding that?
A lot of having your needs met is just basic communication between the other people that you work with. If you aren't able to just talk to your other employees and be treated like a human, there will be a lack of respect and the workers will be burnt out quickly and not want to stick around. Often it's not a job that makes someone want to leave. It's, well, they're being managed or told what to do. So I would say communication is probably the biggest factor for keeping a team operational and working fluid within manufacturing.
Thank you for watching this episode of Gen Z in Manufacturing. Please make sure to like and share the episode. To view previous episodes, visit manufacturing.net. If you are a member of Gen Z and would like to discuss your experience in the manufacturing industry, please contact Nolan Beilstein at nolan@in.com.